last night on Fox 5 News at 11, and this has been a story that continues to develop at this hour, far beyond the DMV, actually in the Middle East. Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated in Iran after attending the inauguration of Iran's new president. Of course, this comes amid Hamas's war with Israel. Senior policy analyst for the National Union for Democracy in Iran, Andrew Ghalili, is live with us to break this down. We know that this was in the midst of negotiations that have continued since October 7th of last year to ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. This person who had been part of the negotiations, the leader of Hamas in Iran, when he's taken out by Israel, what does that mean now amid the continued negotiations?
Well, there's been a misplaced focus, I think, a little bit in the media in terms of how this is being reported, saying that this kills the hopes for a ceasefire talk, that Ismail Haniyeh was the key figure to negotiate a ceasefire with. First, I would say anyone that Israel can negotiate a ceasefire, any ceasefire deal that Israel can negotiate with Haniyeh, they'll be able to negotiate with his replacement. This framing of Haniyeh in media headlines, in tweets from so-called experts, as a peace activist of sorts is just wrong. I mean, he's the political leader of the group that carried out October 7th. He's threatened more attacks like that. He celebrated October 7th. So by no means was he the key to a ceasefire agreement. Now, there's been an idea that he was a moderate for Hamas. Now, the fact that he may be a moderate by Hamas standards does not mean that he's a moderate by our standards. What it might reveal is that Hamas itself is an irredeemable group that needs to be eliminated, which is Israel's military goal here.
Got you. Okay, so, but where are we with the ceasefire talks now? Now that he is gone, what does this mean? You stated that we could go talk to the next person. Is that happening at this hour? Have we started that? Because the world's watching and they want to say, can we stop this war?
Well, what people are looking for now is how Iran is going to respond. So Khamenei tweeted that he's threatening revenge. Obviously a strike inside of Iran is provocative in a sense, but I would also say it's a calculation by Israel, similar to when they targeted a nuclear facility in Iran after Iran fired hundreds of missiles at Israel. It's a messaging and deterrence signal as well, which is to say, Khamenei cannot protect you. The IRGC cannot protect you. We can strike a nuclear facility in Iran. We can target top officials, the most highly protected officials inside of Iran, we being Israel here, and we don't risk civilian harm. So I think that has a potential to really scare those within the regime, to sow discord within the regime, and also has a deterrent effect that could eventually lead to an actual ceasefire talk. Now, it's important to remember any ceasefire talk consistently, Israel has said that any ceasefire must include the destruction of Hamas's military capabilities. So I would argue this falls in line with that goal of accomplishing what Israel would consider a acceptable ceasefire. But we're not there yet. Talks, I'm sure, short term will be died down a little bit because of this. Now, the bigger fear also is there's reports that an Iranian commander, Haji Zadeh, was also killed in Syria today. If those reports are true, the likelihood of all-out or increased conflict between Israel and Iran directly do escalate more than just if Haniyeh was killed.
I mean, there's certainly been an escalation, regardless of what part. I mean, when you talk about Israel, even within the Israeli government, there's a divide there within the cabinet. You've got Netanyahu, to your point, saying, destroy Hamas. That's the only thing we will accept. And then you've got a more moderate approach. There was also a big get in Beirut in Lebanon on the Hezbollah front. So clearly, Israel is doing the best they can from a military perspective to take out all of these threats, as you will. But it sounds as though the escalation, this just ramps it up at this point, and there doesn't seem like, I hear what you're saying, Haniyeh is not the one who's doing the direct, maybe he's the face, not the negotiator there, but regardless, he was in Qatar, he was at places trying to, or at least putting face that he was trying to achieve some sort of ceasefire. It seems as though that doesn't even exist. We're talking about something that doesn't seem will ever happen at this point. Is that the sentiment you're getting?
Not necessarily, but I think there has to be a separation of the ceasefire component and deterrence component. Israel is concerned because it's getting hit and it's getting increasingly hit hard when it doesn't deter Iran, when the U.S. doesn't deter the Islamic Republic of Iran. So there's the problem here of deterrence as well, and that's something Israel has to address. How it affects the ceasefire talks is obviously questionable.
All right.
Gotcha.
Andrew Ghalili giving us that perspective tonight. We appreciate you coming on the DMV zone. And clearly, this is something that has taken centuries to try and figure out. And here we are in 2024, still working it out. So we'll see as the hours progress here. Certainly with that update.